And welcome to Life Clarifications with Natasha. I'm here to support you going through your life, and I'm trying to get comfortable. Sorry about being a few minutes late here because of the fact that I was helping somebody who's going to be losing two of their friends. And so, um, I help people go through the grief process here. So I apologize for not being here right at 4 o'clock, as I really wanted to, be here to help you. So I'm Natasha Venter. I am a lifetime intuitive, multi-life intuitive. I remember being born. I try to help people go through life because I pull upon my past lives to help people go through things. So, like when I was talking to my friend who is losing two people, or has, supporting his friends through the grief process as they're losing their own lives, that I go into when I was going, you know through my own death process in other lifetimes. And so going through our process of death and realizing that, it's a fearful process, but that's not what the show is going to be about, but it's actually in the 3D world. So it kind of it all weaves in, right? I'm also a medium. I do spiritual counseling. I see energies. I do a lot of work with how we go through things and that kind of stuff. So as we're going through life and managing, our process of the 3D world, we're also getting bombarded by a lot, right? And so, today's show was going to be about the matrix system and the outer world. And how do we apply it to this world, right? How do we apply it to how we live in this world? That's what I wanted to talk about today, because so many of us are getting like on the news, on the radio, on many of these podcasts. And I'm here to support you in your truth. Yet at the same time, the request of being on my show is not going to be, I'm here on my own show. So thank you for wanting to be on my show. But no, I don't do videos together with people on my show. So as we're going forward in this dance, we're getting new awarenesses, like on the Skinwalker, I think it's Ranch. We're getting a lot in the news. We just had somebody who said that they witnessed aliens crashing or landing on the land, on their backyard, right? And so, we're having all this bombardment coming down with us. And is the aliens truth? Is there truth with that? Is there a matrix system? Is there a life after death? Is there a God? Is there this? Is there that? And I would like to give you a perspective. Now, remember, my truth is my truth. I understand it in a different way than a lot of people do because that's what I see, right? That's what I work with. Like I work with the dimensions, how many dimensions are around us, right? And I know that there's multitudes of dimensions around us, like me doing my show in this dimension. How many other dimensions are having a show, right? And so with that I see those things too. I don't always tell people that, but I want people to know, though, that there is this stuff out there. If you ever watch the movies with Doctor Strange, right? They talk about different dimensions. And a lot of the Marvel movies, they talk about a lot of these things. And there really is a lot of truth to those movies. It's all made up as a movie, but if you take the basic thought of it, there's a lot of truth to it. So I want people to know that no matter where you're at and what you're doing, that we have these truths that come up. But they stretch us, right? They really stretch our truths. So how do you know that there is? Okay. So I'm going to make this simple as I can. And I was actually having a conversation with somebody that I know, and we were talking about this. And he goes, "You know what, Natasha? What you just said, I didn't believe in half of what you just said, but you all made it make sense. And how can I not believe in it the way that you described it, right? But it's not for me to alter your knowings. but it's me to help you with expanding your truth, maybe. And so that's what I'm wanting to offer you in this show, because this is Life Clarifications with Natasha. I'm here to support you in your knowings. And here I am to help you in that dance of who you are, because we are in the midst of growing into a new world. And people always talk about dimensions. They talk about, we're living on the fifth dimension, we're in the 3D dimension, we're in the third dimension, we're in the fifth dimension, we're trying to get up to the 11th dimension, but we're never going to strive to get there. The world is coming into a new understanding, right? Okay, so let's start this out simple. And if you come in on this conversation, I'm going to try to round it around a little bit, but you may have to rewatch this video, right? So I'm going to take a drink of water before I start this, because it's an interesting little conversation we can have. And please, if you'd like to make good comments. Oh, and if you're watching this on Twitter, I do not get comments on Twitter. So if you can go to my YouTube channel, Natasha Venter AC, I would be grateful that you could do that. And please, whatever you are, please like, subscribe, because I do enjoy supporting you in the day-to-day life. So I have a lot of videos and posts that can help you in your day-to-day walk, right? So here I go. So first off, I'm going to say that what we would call heaven, which is actually the home of spirit. Spirits are here. Now, is there a hell? Is there a heaven? I'm going to stretch your truth here. There is dark, there is light. And sometimes people call this world our hell, right? But a lot of times it is our own mindset. But I can tell you that what I witness in the place where souls go, I'm going to call that, and it may be called heaven, right? So this place that souls go, they are in the sense of being. So we have different areas of where souls go. Now, when somebody passes away, they can be in like they can be in a place, let's say someone who was not very, they were very human in this world. They were very I'm going to call it mean, agitated, struggled a lot in life, maybe drank a lot, a lot of abusers and that kind of stuff. They go to a special place where they are helped and supported as a soul transitioning out of this body. Now, like my dad, hopefully me, people who are very alive in this world, they don't go through very much of a transition period because they know where they're going. They know what they're doing, right? And then you have souls that are necessarily kind of neutral about things. Well, they go to another place, as they transition. But we all, when we become our soul self, we do quickly get to know who we are, right? And that soul goes into that place. I'm going to call it heaven. I'm going to call it home for souls. Okay, that's basically what heaven is home for souls, right? And souls are basically light energy. They are light beings. That's why when somebody gives you a aura reading or a soul reading, that they give you your colors, because that's what the colors we are. And being human, we don't recognize that we're light, but we are light. Okay, but I can tell you, witnessing that things are happening, the first stuff I want to say is there's a lot of souls that want to come onto this planet. Okay, there's a lot of souls that want to come on this planet. So that says that there's something special about this planet. And I can tell you that checking in with the solar systems, multitude of systems, that our souls, that this human experience we have on Earth is unique to our planet. Now, there's other planets that have a human or have an earthly, I'm going to call it, experience, so that we know what we're talking about. There's other solar systems that have an earthly experience, but there's something unique about this planet and the humanness that we are. And there's a lot of souls that want to come onto this planet, just like there's a lot of souls that want to go onto the other planets. There's a lot of souls that want to be star beings. There's a lot of souls that want to be in different places. But there's something unique about this experience and the humanness that we have when we're learning in this experience. Okay, so I want to make that clear. Okay, so there's a lot of souls that want to come on, and that's going to kind of come around here. Okay, now with as many souls that want to come on here, is there a matrix system? There is a system that is outside of our vision. There's a lot of people who have vision that see it, but there is another system out there. Our space, let's say, is space, but it's got it's hard to explain because it's like there's a veil, and on this other side of the veil, that shimmery thing that once it breaks down, you can see what's truly there, right? Well, it's on the other side. Well, that matrix system is making what we think happen, right? So this is where it comes back down to, I want people to remember that if you're thinking negative, if you're struggling being negative, if you're always thinking of drama and trauma, what are you producing in your life? Drama, trauma, struggle, and hardships. Okay. If you're thinking more lighter, more wisdom, you're still going to have things that happen, right? You're still going to have life happen. But yet the way that we can negotiate it is less. Now there's some of us that have had practiced the drama trauma scenario, and we keep practicing it because that's all we know, right? But it's about taking a deep breath and coming back and trusting the process. So when we get into a moment where we can have an experience to do better, that's our opportunity to do better, right? That's our opportunity to move forward in our lives. That's an opportunity to say, wait a minute, I'm going to change my thinking here. I'm going to be in a little bit more breath. I'm going to try to do different, right? So when we're in the moments of learning who we are, that those are those reasons why we're actually here, is to learn, right? So going back to the matrix system, yes, there's a matrix system. Yes, there's angels. Yes, there's fairies. Yes, there's unicorns. Yes, there's these dimensional animals, i.e. Sasquatch, i.e. These like weird critters that I'm going to call them weird critters. They are human. I mean, they are alive. They're weird to us because we're not used to seeing them, right? So these animals that look really weird, that maybe run on their four hind leg or their all fours, but they're almost human like, right? So there are different dimensions that are starting to cross over into ours. And that's what we're getting, this illusion, right? And that's why, there's people who are saying, look, I've always seen starships, but they're getting closer now. No, they're not getting closer. They've always been closer, but their cloaking is not happening as far away. They're letting go of their cloaking as they get in closer, and then they cloak closer, if that makes sense. So they don't do their homes and stuff like that. So when we're talking about this scenario of who we are, that there is the matrix system, there are star beings, there are fairies, there are these things. Now I've always understood that the fairies are like the star beings of our planet, the fae, the elementals, right? And then we have the angels that are star beings, but they're more lighter, they're cleaner, they are more divine, I'm going to call them. And then you have star beings, you have all this different stuff, right? Dragons and everything like that, but they're all in different dimensions. So when we're coming into this knowing of why are we here, people are so focused on what's going on in the outer planets, but actually we're here on this planet to believe in being us, to become an enlightened self, right? So it doesn't matter if you are who you are or what's going on. Yeah, it's cool that there's star beings that are starting to see. Yet at the same time, they've been here since the planet, they actually made our planet. Okay, because I had a past life where I watched the earth being made. It's not all dirt and lava, right? It's got metal, it's got homes, it's got spaceship homes, and we're working into this. So I'm going to make this little commercial here. This is a show that I'm asking you to have your own truth. I'm just here to give a perspective. Okay, so there is a matrix, there is all this stuff that's going on in the 3D world. um it's got magic, yes, Veronica, it does have magic. Thank you for commenting. So with that we do have magic, but remember, our thinking is what we are, right? So from my understanding, you know what, I can struggle to get to the fifth dimension. I can work on getting to the 11th dimension. But I'm going to tell you, this world is on a 3D dimension. So we have to learn. This is not a have to, like, if you don't learn this, I'm not about that. But it's about, you know, okay. So I'm going to put it to this. I have an understanding of the quantum physics of spirituality, right? But I have learned how to take the quantum physics of spirituality and bring it down to managing it with moody people around me, in a school setting, in a life setting, in a grocery store with angry people. I have learned how to be spiritual, see the enlightenment while dealing with the people around me. Right? So that is why we're on this planet, is to be enlightened selves. So how can we shift what we're doing and become more enlightened, right? But it's about changing our process of what have we learned to get into a newer truth, right? Like on our shows on Monday, with Reinforced and I, we talked about old truths turning into newer truths because we need to evolve in our knowings, right? So when we're talking about the evolution, that is the dimensional walk we're walking into. So if you're striving to be at the 11th dimension all the time, I'm going to tell you, you're losing out on the human experience, which is the basic reason why we're here, is to have the human experience, to know how to negotiate the world around us. Like, I've been seeing a lot of videos on narcissistic people. There's a lot of narcissistic people out there, right? But who are the narcissists and how can we negotiate with them? That is what gets us to the other dimensions, is how do we process what's happening? Now, I'm going to give you an example. Like today, I got some news that I wasn't really happy with in the 3D world, right? It wasn't my truth all the way. Yeah, I can tell I can do a little bit better in their image of what needs to happen. I was doing the image that was called for me to do, right? So, what did I do? I was getting sucked down into that 3D world, right? I was getting sucked down to where, that 3D negativeness, the harshness, the realities was sitting there, okay? But what did I do? I reached out and I called somebody to help me, because my mind wanted me to stay in the 3D world. My mind wanted to go and cause conflict, right? It's not about me being in conflict. So what did I do? I talked about it. I got it. Engaged with it. I engaged with that life, other person's life. I engaged with what was happening so that my mind didn't take over and negotiate what was happening with me, right? Now I'm asking for healing on it. I'm seeing the bigger vision. I didn't do wrong, but there's something I can do a little different, right? And I'm going to be where I'm going to be. The changes haven't happened yet. I'm just at the beginning of a change, right? So knowing this story in me. Also, too, I do numerology. So, like for me, I count now 9 days. So today is my 9th day. So there was a lot of endings happening, right? So how can I negotiate the endings in my life to become my heightened self? And that was where I realized that my mind was dragging me down the rabbit hole. And that rabbit hole is the rabbit hole of the mind going, well, yeah, remember you did this, and they shouldn't have told you that, and you were in the right, and they were in the wrong, and how and this and that, and then this and that. Oh, you should have said that whole sentence better. Why didn't you say the whole sentence that now you don't want me to blow the whistle? To have kids line up 2 minutes early so that they can get in the lunchroom on time and have the full minutes that they need to eat, right? So I'm not done with that conversation yet. We're going to have that conversation in the fall. Okay. So put that away. But negotiating with the mind is part of this enlightened process because the mind likes to keep us in the 3D world. So if you're hearing about people being in the fifth dimension, yes, we're working to be in the fifth dimension. But I'm telling you right now, the only way to get to the fifth dimension is to work through our humanness. It's to work through what our minds want to bring us down the rabbit hole and say, I'm not going there today, right? I'm not going there. And as we go through this life and go through the knowings and do what we're doing, how can we create the magic in the matrix system? By not staying in the 3D world of ick, right? Not staying in the 3D, the world of ick. It's about moving forward, moving up, moving into it, moving with it. I have a friend that always, that's always positive, but always ends up in the narcissist. Why is that? Okay, so thank you for saying this. Okay, so I have a friend that's always positive, but always ends up with a narcissist. Why is that? Well, it's because balance, right? We have good people that are with not so right people, right? And there's no right or wrong, but the narcissist attitude, because we are here to create balance, right? And so for me, speaking of me, I, 20, 30, 32 years ago, 33 years ago, was married to and I married into an alcoholic relationship, and narcissistic attitude. And so I learned how to stand on my own 2 feet, how to create boundaries, how to be. And I can tell you that, yesterday was a day that we were both falling down into that rabbit hole, but what did we do to get out of it? And he actually said at the end of the night, I said, I'm grateful that you're feeling better. And he goes, well, actually, it was because you helped me. So how can we help each other become enlightened? But it takes effort for people to do that. It's not a one person try. And so going forward is not always easy. Now, we can't always be positive. Like for me, I had a moment. I have moments regularly, but do I stay in them? No, I do things. I listen to better music. Like one of my writing ships, and I've spoken about this on the show a lot, is that I have the song from Shinedown, and it's How Do We Love, right? And I might be a little bit off on the title, but I listen to that song and it writes me, because in the end it's how do I love. And as we go forward and as we do our life, that it's not an easy place to be when we're trying to stay in the negative head, because that's not becoming our enlightened self. Because when we become in our enlightened self, then as a planet, we can lift up. But there's a whole lot of people that need to do a little bit of shifting here. But as a collective, we're doing pretty darn good. So I can tell you that things are going to be changing, but what we say, what we think is what we're manifesting, right? So if we're manifesting, why is this always happening to me? Why another problem? That's what we're manifesting. For me, I try to, like today, I had to talk with somebody to get a little past that, and I kind of going, oh, well, I'm going to take that piece of paper that I got and put it underneath a Bible or someplace I can put prayers on it so it can change its energy. I'm done with that process. I'm I'm truly not that person, right? So how can we be negotiating our story? And that's why we're here on this planet, is to learn to be your better self, be your more enlightened self, but it takes practice and it takes moments. And if you can work with those moments, that's where you're going to get the benefit of living into the fifth dimension, the 11th dimension, or whatever dimension that is mentioned, right? So, going back to this, remember that there's a lot of souls that want to have this experience to learn, to be, to understand life, right? So if we move with that story of being who we are, that we can create more magic in our lives. So give yourself grace when you can. Understand that life is going to happen around us. How can we negotiate it to our better selves? Do we let it drag us down the rabbit hole? Maybe for a minute or two, or 5 or 10 or 15 or 20. But do we lift ourselves back up over it? Because there is our story of going forward. So believe in you as you negotiate. Believe in you that things can change and shift if we concept a little bit more cleaner, right? My life isn't perfect. I still have things I got to do. I'm negotiating things, but I got to remind my humanness, wait a minute. I need to reply to that email. I need to be ready to move forward. I need to negotiate where I'm at. I have opportunities. Follow through with them because that's what's going to happen. Listen to the gut, right? Because I can tell you that I have witnessed many people that don't get support, that don't get help because they've been burning bridges along the way, being in trauma a lot, right? So being in that trauma can actually create more scenarios. Blessings with you in this journey because we never know what's going to happen next. So believe in you, believe in who you are, believe in the gifts that you are, because you never know what's going to happen. Because that matrix system is creating our world around us as we think about it, as we negotiate it. So believe that there's something greater out there for us to help us negotiate this. Try not to be so close-minded if you can. Because remember, this is your truth that you are. Yet at the same time, though, those perspectives, there's knowings, there's these dances that we got to do. And how can we shift up what we're doing and negotiating? So believe in you, believe in love, believe in the guidance. It's there for you, right? It's there for you. So when we go through the death process and going into, now remember, many of us go through that death process as we live. Like today was a moment for me to have a death of a concept, right? A death of a concept. And having that death of the concept actually gave me life to be. And that death of a concept is that, something tried to pull me down the old rabbit hole, right? And I said, no, I'm releasing that story. I'm moving that story on. I'm being where I'm at. I'm honoring those emotions that got hit today so I can be my better self. So realize that no matter where you're at and what you're doing, that the reason why we're here is to help others become their enlightened self. And that's why it takes a community sometimes. Like for me today, I wasn't doing it. Oh, I could have done it myself. I know I could have done it myself. But whereas that, I didn't really want to. I needed a friend. I wanted a friend to acknowledge this process and be with me, right? Because for me, conversation is the gift of moving forward. I process a lot through conversation, and I'm grateful when I can have conversations to process. And there's a lot of us that do that. Some of us need to go inward on ourselves, with ourselves, to process that. But the mind likes to keep us in that 3D world. So I'd be aware of that. Okay? I would be aware of that. Sorry about that if I was sounding a little far away. I didn't realize my mic was over there. I hope that sounds better, Veronica. I apologize. So be you. Be your and I want people to remember that joy is part of this journey of how to become enlightened. Laugh when you can, be when you can, joyfulness when you can, because, and here the light comes out when I say joyfulness, right? Because it is about the breath in and breath out. We can't stay where we're at in the negative because that's other people's shit that we're dealing with that's keeping us in the negative, right? So honor who you are by believing in you, believing that change can happen, right? Sounds great. I choose to believe. Thank you, Veronica. And it's not necessarily that it's believe with blinders on. Okay? It's not about believing that there's with blinders on and that you don't see any evil. There is darkness to create light. What is the darkness around us to create better selves? What is the darkness that is being shown so that we can see another vision of what we're needing to do? That's why there's always a new day, right? Because if we have a new day, we have a new vision, we have a new process. That's why there's a new minute, new hour, new, the AM, the PM, because of the fact that we need a different perspective at different times to create new magic. And that's where I was grateful for my friend today, because that, with that friendship, whoever comes to you in the right time is the blessing, because that does help us keep out in the negative, right? So when we're walking into our world, believe in the magic that you can create, because you will be surprised what you can have and you can get. It's not always what we want many times, but it's what we need, what we truly, our hearts desire to be. It's kind of like we manifest some money that comes in. We manifest money that's coming in, right? And then all of a sudden there's something that money is needed for. We're kind of like, but I just got money and I wanted to do this, this, and this with it. But then that other thing needed that. But isn't it a blessing that you received money to take care of that other thing? Yeah, we want to do this other thing, but there's no rhyme or reason for it. It is what it is. So, if I can give you anything, that through this conversation, that there is star beings, there is a matrix, there is, or what you want to call a matrix, I don't know, that's the cliche word right now. But at the same time, come back to being in the human body, being with the human body. How can you work through what is in front of you with more of an enlightened, lighter, lovable moment? Because drama trauma is going to create drama trauma. And I'm not trying to discredit that or dishonor that word. It is a process. So how can we honor this dance of where we're at? It's called being. Being here, being in the moment, being what we can be, loving what we can be, holding on to what is, holding on to that loving moment that we can, right? And understand that life is a process. Something begins, something ends. And then the middle is the climax of whatever's happening, right? It's the hill at the top. You know, every story has it. You read a story, there's a beginning, you build the characters, right? There's something that happens, right? And then it's like, is it going to work out? Is it not going to work out? And then there's the story that ends, right? It's that coming down. So think of your life that way. And also, too, think of your life as how are you managing your life with other people? Like I was watching Oprah Winfrey one time, and there's this one person who was saying that, he treats life like a movie. I'm playing the lead role in my life. My husband's a co-actor, right? My kids are co-actors with that, right? How am I doing my lead role? Well, when somebody else is trying to control my lead role, there's a problem there. They're putting too much on me. Now, I'm going to say that when we're holding a baby, they're co-actors, right? Until they get older and can be our better selves, right? And so, like I said to someone today, what drives us crazy with young ones can be their strengths as they get older, because it's us who has to help manage and mold them into being better selves. But also, too, by a certain time, I'm going to say 3 or 4, they're starting to create their own movies. So how can we be a co-actor with them, one that is both our lead roles, right, for a while? Let them have their movie and play their part, learn their lessons, get their experiences. But how can we support them? And then as they get older, they have to learn their experiences and do. And how can we come down and be in a supporting role, right? So when we treat other people's lives like their lead role, and we're just co-actors. Like I'm a co-actor in my husband's life, right? And in my kids' life. I'm a lead role in mine. And so how can I do that? By being a little bit more aware of what my movie is playing into other people's. So like me, when I was getting my conversation today earlier, that went well. It didn't go well. That, you know, uh, being there, what role was I playing in my movie and their movies, right? How can I be in that moment of both movies and be mine? Well, I had to speak my truth, listen to their truths, right? Listen to their truths, and then come up and have a communion of truths. So our willingness to negotiate how we work, it's an interesting balance. It's a very big, interesting balance. So I hope that if you get anything out of this conversation, right? It's not necessarily about anything, but remember that as you're walking and as you're doing, it's as simple as learn to be with yourself in the moments that life presents. And when you can be here, you know that life is here for you. And in that moment, you can work into the 3D dimension. You can deal with the 5D dimension, the 11 evolutions of life, the dimensions, right? Depends on where you're at. And what's a gift is when you can have 1 foot in the 11th dimension and you have 1 foot in the 3rd dimension, and you work with both of them at the same time. You know you're good when you can do that. I'm still learning that process. But I can say sometimes I'm in the 7th dimension or the 5th dimension and doing that too, right? We're all human having experience. Some of us have a human experience more often, some of us less. Because for me, I really try to say, what is this here to teach me? I'm asking for divine healing on this. How can I do better in this situation, even though I didn't do anything wrong? Okay, it's about doing better with life. How can I respect other people's movies? How can I respect my own movie? Boy, a lot of us are messing up our own movies, aren't we? When we really think about it, we're really messing up our own movies. What can we do to make our movie better? Right? How can we, not necessarily the drama trauma better, but how can we make it more sweeter, more loving, more knowing, right? So remember to breathe and be. Breathe and be. So if you like this conversation, if you can please subscribe, like, and share. If you know of anybody who can use this conversation, I'd be grateful. I'd be grateful because I'm here to help people. I'm here to help move forward. So today, I think, what cards want to come out? You know what? The Ascended Masters. This is a deck I haven't used very much, but they are here. Okay, so today's going to be the Ascended Masters cards. If anybody would like a card, please say yes, because I can do some readings with this. So, Ascended Masters. And I will pull a card for the greater good of everybody. Sounds great. I choose to believe. Yes, please, Veronica says. Okay. So I usually pull out a couple decks, and today it's just going to be the Ascended Masters. So the Ascended Masters would be like Crystal, Perfectionist. Let's see. This one is Peace Offering. Isn't that a pretty one? Peace Offering. So here I'm going to do this. I'm asking for divine love to come in and help do a reading for Veronica. You're my first one you put up. Is there anybody else who would like a card? All you need to do is say yes, and then I'll put you on the list, and then we can do this. There we go. Okay, Veronica. These cards want to talk. I can feel that energy coming forward. Card for Veronica for her greater good. What she's looking for some conversations? Does anybody else want a card on Instagram or YouTube? Okay, so you got two of these. You got, Veronica, you got Twin Flame, and I think that's it's Aengus. Angus, I think. Twin Flame, and then you got Take Charge in This Situation, Moses. Wow. Ain't those two cards? So remember that if you are not asking for a card, but there's some truth that can be handled that you can hear for yourself. So if there's a message in these cards for Veronica that sings true for you, that's the double blessing. Okay, so we're going to do Twin Flame first. I guess this is alphabetical. Oh, I think it's who it is. Okay. I haven't looked at this deck for a while. Sorry about this. There we go. Now you got it. Teacher, Trust, Twin Flame. Twin Flame. Okay, so this is this one for Veronica. This card indicates a twin flame relationship, which is in the deepest form of romantic love. To form such a partnership, you must follow your inner guidance, learn personal growth lessons, have patience with divine timing. Once twin flames find each other, everything is in their reach, new heights, love, and light. Additional meaning for this card. The person that you've inquired about is your soulmate or twin flame. You will soon be with your twin flame. Keep your heart open, stay positive, and follow your guidance to manifest your prayers about love life. So, Angus is a Celtic god who helps soulmates and twin flames meet, enjoy harmonious relationships. He helps love resolve arguments with his magical harp, music, and healing kiss. When Argus first saw the beautiful maiden named Caesar, he fell deeply in love. Angus followed Caesar until he found her bound by swans, by silver chains. Angus transformed himself into a swan so that he could be forever bound to his twin flame. Call upon Angus to meet your soulmate and twin flame to resolve quarrels in relationships. So I feel like he's here to help you find grace and beauty, Veronica, for your relationship, because sometimes our twin flames, our soulmates, are here to teach us our greatest lessons, which they're not always easy. So that's the reason why there's two cards that came out for you, Veronica, because this one was about relationships and finding the greater good in it. Now, take charge. So let me go to take charge. Take charge of the situation, Moses. You have the power to heal after the course of this situation. It's time for you to take charge and assume leadership position. First, decide what you want. Be clear about the conditions that are acceptable or unacceptable to you. The universe responds when you're clear about your aims and intentions. The Ascended Masters will support your leadership role. Additional meaning in this card. Talk openly and honestly about your feelings. Make a decision instead of passively waiting. Give yourself permission to do what you feel is right. Don't wait. Take action now. Be your own authority. The prophet Moses displayed courage and leadership through his lifetime. His clear decree about his intentions led to miracles such as the parting of the Red Sea, bringing forth water from a boulder, and manifesting manna from heaven. Moses is a powerful, beloved, inspiring leader who can lead your courage in your situation, also in your life's purpose. So, so with that I want you to remember that this is about your relationship here, right? This is about your relationship, your soulmate working through, right? Now you're going to have the power that's over it to work through it. So believe in your story, believe in who you are. It's one of those moments where you can go forward. Okay, so believe. You've got two great helpers. So when you're in a dilemma, remember who can bring in that lovingness for you, and then the guidance for twin flame. Okay, so let there be love with you, Veronica. Let there be love with you, and try to stay as positive as you can, my dear, because these changes you're going through, you're going to look back and go, yeah, I was pretty powerful going through them, wasn't I? Because part of this is about parting the Red Sea, right? Sometimes we got to do that in life, right? Is there anybody else who would like a card? I'm a God gifted. Okay, so I'm asking for people who, I'm going to block you here, delete comment, and block you. So with that, I am so glad that you are here. And I hope this conversation made sense about the matrix system, about why we're here, and knowing that we are here to do our greater work. So remember, we are in charge of our own movie, right? So what role are we playing in that movie? What are we doing in that movie to become our better light and self? It's about being here. How can we work through to get to the dimensions? It's about co-working with the mind to become our better selves. Okay. So please know that you are loved and that there's wisdom around you, that we're here as an experience. So, as many people have said, the souls are really wanting to come in this planet. So enjoy what you have here. And joyfulness is the dance. So when you can, find joy, find laughter, find that knowing to be you, find that gift of who you are. Because it's okay to laugh when you're in grief. It's okay to laugh and have fun when you're down. It's okay um, to do what you're doing. Uh, how can you be, right? How can you be? So I want you to know that no matter where you're at and what you're doing. Okay, so here I'm going to pull another card. Sorry, getting some comments here that I'm not too sure about. No, we're not doing readings on my, this is my platform, and I would appreciate it if you respect my platform, because I frankly don't do that on other people's platforms. So please respect mine. Thank you. People want to saying, hey, I'll do a reading for you for so much money. That's not right. That's not right, because this is my platform. You know what? I'm thinking, next week I will have my good friend Jessica Martin on my show, and we're going to be talking about spirituality and dealing with the mental mind and how to move forward. So I'm looking forward. So I will not be on Instagram next week, but you can watch me on my YouTube channel, Natasha Venter AC, or on Facebook at Natasha Venter AC and John Clarifications. Okay, so here's a card for the greater good. I'm going to do one for the greater good. Okay, my eyes have been on this one here. Work your magic, Saint Germain. Work your magic, Saint Germain. Okay, so let me read Work Your Magic. Yes, these guys really wanted to come out, didn't they? So work your magic, Saint Germain. This is for everybody. Okay. You have the power to resolve the situation you're inquiring about. This card signifies your untapped magical abilities, which you've used successfully in the past. Pull these abilities out of storage and use them to work your magic now. Your clear and focused intentions, positive expectations, prayers, decrees, action steps all create healing and manifestation you desire. Additional meaning for this card. Decide clearly what you will and won't accept in this situation, as your clearly will bring immediate results. Have steady faith in positive outcome. Study alchemy and manifestation principles. Saint Germain isn't a Catholic saint, but a count from the French religion called Saint Germain. He was known as the Wonder Man of Europe during his lifetime in the early 1700s. Saint Germain was renowned for his magical abilities to give gems and fountain of youth like elixirs to his many friends. He was a virtuous magician and linguist who was beloved by royal and blue-collar workers alike. Saint Germain helps light workers who wish to work towards world peace and bring the integrity and honesty in governmental and other systems. So, in other words, work your magic. You've got it. We have to believe we have it. That, my friends, is the story. We have to believe it. So, if you're looking for a session, I can help you. I bring a lot of pieces of the puzzle together in my sessions that I do, individual sessions, or I do group mediumship. So, if you would like me to do anything, I can do it virtually, I can do it in person, I can do it over the phone, whatever. So, blessings to you on your journey. Please like and share. On Monday of next week, Regan and I will be talking. It's be after Father's Day. So, happy Father's Day to everyone. That about the male energy and father and how to become that better person, because even us mothers can do a little bit better job working with the men in our life, right? And so with that, and then on Wednesday, next Wednesday, I'll have my friend Jessica Martin on. So blessings, everyone. Please like, share, and support, because I love doing this with you. Blessings to you. Bye now. Oh, if you would like to listen on podcast, you can listen on Life Clarifications with Natasha. So if you know of anybody who likes podcasts, tell them about that. Life Clarifications with Natasha on most podcast platforms. Bye now.